right, so another Google question here is, what do dairy farmers wear? What do dairy farmers wear? Okay, so what do dairy farmers wear? This is what dairy farmers wear. I know there's these stereotypes about what a dairy farmer wears, and it's usually a plaid shirt and overalls, and we do not wear plaid shirts around here at all. I usually am wearing a t-shirt and whatever happens to be most comfortable. However, I do wear overalls because most of the time I do work off the farm, and in the morning I'm taking care of animals and I don't have time for showers. So overalls come on, and then I try to stay as clean as possible, and then overalls come off and I go straight to work. So that is the function of overalls, I guess, would be just keep your clothes underneath clean. But my husband does not ever wear overalls and will never be caught wearing an overall. So yeah. How does grazing affect biodiversity? All right, so we've got these pastures that have a lot of different grasses in them. We know they're good for the cows. That's what the cows are feeding on. But how does that affect biodiversity? Well, we've got a lot of different plant species out here. So it's not just grass, even though grazing, you think of grass. We've got clovers out here that produce a lot of wonderful flowers that bees in particular really like. So we get a lot of bumblebees out here, honeybees out here. This is also wonderful habitat when you have these grasses that grow really tall for grassland bird species. And grassland bird species in general have just been really declining because they don't have the habitat that they need to live in. I've spoken at garden club meetings and things like that, and people in our area have never seen a bobolink in their whole life. And then I tell them, I was like, well, come out to our farm. We have bobolinks that live in our pastures, and they're like, I've never seen one. I didn't even know we had them in the area. And it's just, it shows how important it is to have the habitat for a lot of these to support biodiversity. Otherwise, you won't have the creatures living here. So, you know, we've got a lot of these bird species out here that you won't see anywhere else. Bumblebees, honeybees, a lot of just other insects in general. And even plant species. You know, one of the other insects that most people are familiar with is the monarch butterfly. They need milkweed to lay their eggs on for their larvae to reproduce. So you'll see the monarch caterpillars on them, and we have milkweed growing in our pastures all over the place, and we'll regularly find monarch caterpillars on them. And then the adults, they will feed on a lot of other flowers. So the red clovers, I see monarch butterflies flying and feeding on the red clover that's out here in our pastures all summer long. It's wonderful. And on certain days, you can just see the butterflies flying across the pastures. Sometimes it's monarchs, sometimes it's swallowtails, but it's awesome to see. So there's a lot of that biodiversity piece that gets supported just by having the grazing pastures that we have that's essentially meant for cows. How do dairy farmers milk cows? All right, so in order for us to milk any of these cows, we gotta have a healthy cow to start with. We have our cows, they have to have calves, so our cows have a calf every year, and we try to make sure that we do our calving so that the cows are having their calves out on the pasture, which is just so healthy. They have these calves outdoors. Right now, actually, it's September. It's a wonderful day. We've got cows that are having calves this week. It's beautiful weather for them. The moms have their babies outdoors. They clean them off. It's so nice to see. The cows almost always never need any help with it. And so we get the cows then, they're having their calves, and then we have to bring them into the barn, and we milk just once a day. We don't milk twice a day here. We don't pressure our cows to produce a lot, and it still works for us as well to just do the once a day milkings. And so the cows come in every morning, and then we milk them, and then they're in for just a little bit, and then we send them back outside to graze for the rest of the day. And for us to get milk from them, it's also really important to have good diets, diversified diets that help provide them all the essential nutrients that they need. So that's what our pastures provide for them, giving them access to outdoors and giving them exercise. So we've got healthy cows that can produce the milk that we need. And we're certified organic, so we sell certified organic, and it is 100% grass-fed milk as well. How does animal grazing affect the soil? Oh, that's a good one. Okay. How does animal grazing affect the soil? All right, so out here, one of the things you'll probably notice behind me is that you can't see the soil, actually. And even if I look down here, I am hardly seeing any soil. And that is one of the best ways that grazing affects the soil, is because I can't see the soil. So one of the issues we often have with soil is we want to prevent things like erosion, soil erosion. Like if you ever see big gullies or next to really open areas, you get a rainfall, you'll see these like washouts essentially of the soil. If you have vegetation on it, like what we have out here, you don't get any of that. So we can have these huge rainfall events, and I've seen it where we've gotten like 5-inch rainfalls in a day, and the water running off of our pastures is clear, which means we're not losing any soil, and that's fantastic. It's like our insurance policy. I'm making sure we're not losing one of the most valuable resources that we have, which is our soil. So yeah, that's what grazing and rotational grazing can do, is it makes sure that there is something on the soil to protect it from the other elements.